Picture two people walking into the same room. The first one immediately starts talking, louder than necessary. He name drops his job title. He interrupts to correct people. He laughs a little too hard at his own jokes. He's performing. The second one? He says almost nothing. He listens. He smiles when it's genuine. When he does speak, the whole room goes quiet to hear it. Now here's the question that should bother you. Who has more power in that room? If your gut said the second person, you already sense something most people never consciously understand. Today, we're going to put words to that feeling. Because what separates these two people isn't talent, status, or looks. It's one psychological principle that the most powerful people on earth operate by, often without even knowing it. The less you try to prove, the more powerful you become. Here's something uncomfortable. The urge to prove yourself is almost never about strength. It's about fear. Psychologists call this contingent self-esteem, a state where your sense of worth is attached to external validation. Your value as a person feels like it depends on whether others see it, confirm it, applaud it. And the cruel irony? The more desperately you perform to earn that validation, the less people believe you. Think about it. When someone constantly tells you how honest they are, do you actually trust them more? When someone brags about how humble they are, does that land as humility? No, because real qualities don't need to announce themselves. Research in social psychology shows something fascinating. People who frequently self-promote are consistently rated as less competent and less likable than those who let their actions speak. We are wired to detect the difference between someone who is something and someone who is trying to seem like something. The performer signals insecurity. And insecurity, no matter how loudly it's dressed up, reads as weakness. So where does that unshakable quiet confidence actually come from? The answer traces back further than most people expect. Back to childhood. Psychologist John Bowlby's attachment theory tells us that children who grow up with consistent, reliable caregivers develop what's called a secure base. They learn, at a deep neurological level, that they are fundamentally okay, that they don't need to perform to be loved, that they can just exist. These children grow into adults who don't need constant reassurance. They can sit in silence without anxiety. They don't need to win every argument. They can admit, "I don't know," without feeling diminished. Contrast this with people who grew up in environments where love was conditional, where you had to earn attention, approval, or affection. They develop what psychologists call anxious attachment. And one of its most recognizable adult symptoms? The compulsive need to prove their worth. Now, here's the critical thing. This isn't destiny. The brain is plastic. You can rebuild a secure internal foundation as an adult, but you can't do it by performing harder. You do it by stopping the performance entirely. Let's get specific. Because quiet confidence isn't passivity. It's not indifference. And it's definitely not weakness dressed up as peace. Here's what it actually looks like in practice. People with genuine confidence make a decision and move on. They don't send follow-up texts explaining why they said what they said. They don't spend Sunday night rehearsing justifications. When you're secure in your judgment, you don't need a jury. This one is rare. Most people will bend themselves into uncomfortable shapes to make sure everyone approves of them. The person with nothing to prove accepts that some people won't get them. And that's fine. Their identity doesn't collapse when someone disagrees. Insecure people unconsciously see others' success as a threat to their own relevance. Someone with quiet confidence, they can genuinely celebrate the people around them. They don't need to dim your light to make theirs brighter. In any conversation, there's social pressure to fill dead air. The person with nothing to prove lets silence exist. They don't panic. They don't overshare to fill the gap. And paradoxically, this makes everything they do say carry far more weight. We're taught that confidence means having all the answers. But the most psychologically secure people are completely comfortable saying, "I don't know, but I'll find out." This builds more trust than a confident bluff ever could. There's a psychological principle at work here called the pratfall effect, identified by researcher Elliot Aronson. His studies found that highly competent people actually become more likable when they show vulnerability or admit mistakes, not less. Why? Because it signals security. It says, I don't need to be perfect for you to respect me. Meanwhile, someone who never admits weakness, never shows doubt, never asks for help, they read as fragile. Because we intuitively understand that truly strong things don't need constant protection. Think of the most powerful people you admire. Not celebrities performing for cameras, but real people in your life. The mentor who changed how you think. The leader who made you feel genuinely seen. The friend whose opinion you actually trust. Were any of them constantly proving themselves to you? Almost certainly not. They showed up. They did the work. They were honest about what they didn't know. And that consistency, not the performance, is what made them impossible to ignore. So how do you actually build this? 3 things you can start this week. Next time you feel the pull to defend yourself, correct someone, or explain your choices, pause. Just notice it. Ask, is this necessary, or am I performing? You don't have to act. Just observe. Awareness is the first step out of the pattern. Pick one situation this week where someone misunderstands you or disagrees with you, and simply don't explain yourself. Don't argue. Don't send the follow-up. Let it breathe. Notice what happens inside you when you choose silence over performance. Every hour you spend managing how others perceive you is an hour not spent becoming the person you want to be. The quietly confident person has made a trade. They've exchanged social approval for internal alignment. They know who they are. And when you truly know who you are, there's nothing left to prove. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful one. Power doesn't announce itself. Real confidence doesn't need witnesses. And the people who have genuinely built something, within themselves, in their careers, in their relationships, they don't spend their energy convincing you of it. They just live it. And here's the truth that this whole video has been building toward. The moment you stop needing people to see your worth is the moment they start to. Not because you tricked them, not because you played it cool, but because something in you finally settled. And settled people are magnetic in a world full of noise. If this video made you think differently about confidence, subscribe to Inner Psychology. We go deeper than the surface every single week. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one.